is a principle Napoleon Hill repeated over and over again, a principle he saw in every successful man he ever studied, a rule so simple that most people ignore it: move in silence. Hill understood that the mind loses power when the mouth speaks too soon. He observed that the moment you begin sharing every idea, every plan, every step you intend to take, your brain relaxes as if the work is already done. The energy behind action dissolves into empty conversations. This is why Hill wrote that talkers usually do not do much more than talk. Wise people protect their dreams because they know that dreams are fragile in the beginning. They need privacy, focus, and discipline to grow. When you share your goals too early, you invite opinions, doubts, jealousy, resistance, and distraction. People will project their fears onto your vision. They will tell you why it won't work, not because they understand your purpose, but because they do not understand their own. Hill warned against letting outside voices weaken your inner drive. The person who moves quietly builds momentum. When no one knows your next step, no one can interfere with it. Silence becomes a shield, protecting your mind from negativity and your direction from sabotage. Hill believed in controlled power, power that grows stronger because it is contained, not scattered through unnecessary speech. When you keep your mouth shut, you conserve mental energy that can be used for clearer thinking, sharper planning, and disciplined execution. You become a person who acts, not a person who talks. And in a world full of noise, the one who speaks the least often achieves the most. Remember, talking is easy, but transformation requires silence, discipline, and the courage to move without applause. Let your results speak for you. Let your silence intimidate your doubts. Let your progress surprise those who underestimated you. Napoleon Hill studied hundreds of the world's greatest achievers: Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, and he discovered a pattern. None of them revealed their plans before the work was done. Hill said that every idea has a gestation period, a time where it must grow quietly inside your mind before it is strong enough to face the world. Sharing your plans too soon exposes them to the judgment of people who aren't building anything themselves. When you speak too early, you leak the spiritual energy needed to execute. Hill called this dissipation of power, the loss of mental force caused by idle talk. Your plan is a seed. You don't dig up a seed every day to see if it's growing. You water it, protect it, and give it the environment it needs. Your goals are the same. They need privacy, consistency, and silence. People often talk about their dreams because it gives them a temporary feeling of success, but this illusion kills real progress. Hill emphasized that success is built from action, not announcements. When you stay quiet, you create a private contract with yourself. You increase your accountability because there is no one to impress, only results to deliver. Silence forces you to rely on discipline, not validation. And once your success starts showing, people will ask how you did it. But by then, your results will be too big to deny and too powerful to destroy. Move quietly, act boldly, and understand that your silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Don't let the world interrupt what your mind is working hard to build. Hill taught that the mind is a workshop where all success is crafted, and workshops must be protected from noise. When you speak too much about your plans, you bring the noise of the world into your workshop. Every doubt, every negative comment, every sarcastic remark becomes a tool that damages your inner structure. This is why Hill emphasized the importance of guarding your mind. He said that the greatest enemy to success is discouragement, and discouragement often comes from people who have no right to comment on your dreams. Silence is not about hiding, it is about protecting your mental environment. Hill also believed that the subconscious mind is highly sensitive, and when you share your goals with the wrong people, their fear becomes your fear. Their disbelief becomes your hesitation. Their limitations become your ceiling. So keep your plans locked inside the vault of your mind until they are strong enough to stand alone. Your subconscious listens to everything you say and everything others say. When you boast about your future, your subconscious believes the job is done and the hunger to act decreases. But when you remain silent, your subconscious knows there is work to do and pushes you harder. This principle explains why the quiet worker always outruns the loud dreamer. People with real purpose don't need to broadcast their every move. They know that the world will see the results when the time is right. Silence is the companion of focus, and focus is the birthplace of achievement. Hill believed that wisdom begins with silence, grows through discipline, and expresses itself through results. Napoleon Hill warned about energy thieves, people who unknowingly drain your motivation, your confidence, and your enthusiasm when you share your goals with them. These people don't need to be malicious. Sometimes they are friends, family members, or people who love you, but their thinking is limited by fear or past failures. Hill wrote that you must surround yourself with only those who encourage your ambitions, and that starts by not revealing your plans to those who cannot comprehend them. When you stay silent, you protect your dreams from the small-minded. You prevent the weak from influencing your strength. You avoid the emotional exhaustion that comes from explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand your path. Hill taught that success requires strict mental discipline, and part of that discipline is refusing to speak on things that are still developing. Let people see your work, not your words. Let them witness your transformation, not your intention. Talking too much makes you predictable, and predictable people are easy to stop. But when you move quietly, you become unstoppable because no one knows your next step. You cannot block what you cannot see. Hill emphasized that the strongest minds walk silently, but leave deep footprints. The world does not need updates about your journey. It needs to see the final destination. Silence is strength. Silence is strategy. Silence keeps your spirit aligned with your purpose, and your purpose aligned with your success. Hill often said that the successful man never reveals everything he knows. This wasn't about secrecy. It was about protecting the most valuable resource you have, your mind. The moment you begin sharing every goal, every dream, every idea with anyone who will listen, you expose your internal world to external influence. Hill learned that every idea starts like a flame, small, delicate, easy to extinguish. Your job is to protect that flame until it becomes a fire strong enough to stand against criticism, jealousy, or doubt. Talking about your dreams too soon gives others the chance to blow out your flame before it becomes powerful. People will tell you that your dream is unrealistic, too risky, too ambitious. They will project their limitations onto your vision. Hill taught that the world is full of people who criticize because they are afraid to try. If you want to win, you must learn to hold your thoughts long enough to turn them into action. Silence gives you the space to plan clearly. It gives you control over your direction. It frees you from the emotional chaos of outside opinions. When you keep your mouth shut, you give your dreams the privacy they need to grow. You free yourself from expectations. You protect your confidence. You build an inner power that cannot be shaken by noise. Hill believed that those who master silence become the architects of their destiny. Their results speak louder than any announcement ever could. Napoleon Hill taught that the greatest form of power is self-control. And one of the strongest demonstrations of self-control is the ability to keep your own mouth shut. He said that if a man cannot discipline his tongue, he cannot discipline his mind. Talking about your plans becomes a habit, and habits shape your destiny. Hill believed that your words must be few and purposeful because speech is a tool that either builds your future or weakens it. When you overshare, you scatter your mental energy into 1,000 pieces. When you stay silent, you gather that energy inward and direct it like a laser. Silence sharpens your focus. It forces you to act instead of brag. Hill wrote that the wise keep their intentions hidden for a simple reason. People cannot attack what they cannot see. Your silence protects you from envy, sabotage, discouragement, and misinterpretation. People fear what they do not understand, so imagine how much resistance emerges when you reveal your plans before they are ready. Hill also referenced how the subconscious mind reacts to premature praise. When you tell others your idea, your brain gets a hit of dopamine, the same reward chemical you'd get from actually achieving it. The result? You feel satisfied without doing any work. This is why so many people talk but do not execute. Their mind already celebrated the victory they haven't earned. Hill taught that true achievers do not crave praise. They crave progress. They crave results. They crave mastery. And mastery requires silence. If you're always talking, you're not listening. If you're always announcing, you're not building. Let your silence become your greatest discipline. Let it be the proof that you are focused on action, not attention. Success is a quiet climb, and when you reach the top, the world will wonder how you did it. That mystery is the gift of silence. Hill warned about what he called the enemy of great ideas, excessive talking. When you speak too much about what you are going to do, you create pressure without progress. You start performing for approval instead of performing for achievement. This is a trap that destroys the potential of millions. Hill studied the greatest innovators and leaders and noticed something profound. They rarely spoke about their plans while they were working on them. They spoke after the results were undeniable. Silence kept their minds clear. Silence protected their ideas from those who didn't believe. Silence allowed them to stay aligned with their purpose instead of chasing external reactions. Hill believed that talkers live in fantasy, but doers live in reality. Words alone create dreams, but action creates destiny. When you keep your mouth shut, you break free from the need to impress others. You don't seek validation. You don't chase applause. You don't rely on opinions. Instead, you build confidence from the inside. Your confidence becomes internal, not borrowed. When you speak too early, you open the door to confusion. People will give you advice you never asked for. They will poke holes in your dream because they cannot imagine themselves achieving one. They will inject fear, doubt, and uncertainty into your mind, even with good intentions. But when you remain silent, you prevent their fears from becoming your fears. You keep your belief pure. Hill said that belief is the foundation of all achievement, and belief is fragile. Protect it. Guard it with silence. Shield your ideas until they are strong enough to face the world. You owe no one an explanation. You owe yourself progress. Napoleon Hill wrote extensively about the danger of negative influences, and he didn't just mean toxic people. He meant any influence that weakens your confidence or blurs your focus. Every time you reveal your plans, you open the door to these influences. People will judge your ideas based on their own limitations. They will question your dreams based on their own fears. They will discourage you based on their own failures. Hill taught that it is not the criticism that hurts you. It is your exposure to it. You can't control people's opinions, but you can control your silence. Silence creates a barrier that protects your ambition from the insecurity of others. When you stay silent, you can think clearly. You can test your ideas without interruption. You can make mistakes privately, correct them privately, and grow privately. Hill believed that private progress is the strongest kind because it is rooted in discipline, not performance. When no one is watching, you build real character. When you keep your plans to yourself, you build real momentum. And when you do speak, your results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. Hill said that nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Your silence is the same. It shows patience. It shows emotional strength. It shows intelligence. Loud people announce their goals. Wise people achieve them. Silence is the training ground of greatness. It is where ideas grow roots. It is where your vision becomes clear. It is where you learn to trust yourself without needing others to understand you. The moment you decide to keep your mouth shut is the moment your dreams begin to breathe. Hill emphasized that success requires organized effort, and talking too much destroys organization. Every time you explain your plans to someone, you shift your focus from execution to explanation. You begin to justify, defend, or rationalize your decisions. This drains mental energy that should be used for building, not talking. Hill said that the mind is like a factory, either producing results or excuses. When you reveal too much, you accidentally start producing excuses. You become more focused on how your plans appear than how they progress. This is the death of ambition. Hill believed that silence simplifies your life. It removes unnecessary opinions, drama, comparisons, and distractions. When you keep your plans private, you free yourself from the weight of judgment. You no longer care who approves. You no longer care who understands. You no longer care who agrees. Your only concern becomes execution. Silence places you in a mental state where you can see your goals with clarity. You plan better, you think deeper, you move smarter, because all your energy is directed inward, not outward. Hill explained that the subconscious mind can be trained, but only when it is not crowded with outside influences. Silence creates the conditions for that training. It allows your mind to receive your own suggestions without interference. When you tell others your plans, their doubts interfere with your inner programming. But when you remain silent, your subconscious hears only your voice, your beliefs, your goals, and that is what creates results. Your silence becomes the soil where greatness grows. Hill believed in what he called the power of mystery. He found that the most successful people didn't explain themselves. They moved with quiet confidence. Ask yourself, when was the last time a loud person truly impressed you? Real power doesn't shout. It whispers. It moves silently. It works behind the scenes. When people don't know your plans, they can't predict your moves. They can't prepare for your success. They can't interfere with your path. Hill stated that secrecy is not about hiding. It's about preserving your potential. Your future is too valuable to be exposed prematurely. The world cannot destroy what it does not see. Silence allows you to evolve without pressure. It gives you room to change your mind, adjust your direction, learn new skills, and correct your mistakes without judgment. Hill warned that those who talk too much lose control of the narrative. People twist their words, misunderstand their intentions, and spread opinions that distract them from their purpose. But those who stay silent maintain control. They hold the power. They choose when, how, and with whom their vision is shared. This is strategic living. And Hill knew that strategy wins where ego fails. Ego wants applause now, strategy wants success later. Ego wants to be seen, strategy wants results. Ego wants attention, strategy wants achievement. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength. Silence is self-respect. When you keep your mouth shut, you silence the world and amplify your purpose. Hill believed that a disciplined tongue creates a disciplined life. Protect your dreams with silence until your success speaks for you. Napoleon Hill taught that your greatest achievements will always begin in the privacy of your own mind. This means the early stages of your goals must be protected like something sacred. When you talk too much, you expose your sacred ideas to people who are not ready to receive them. Hill observed that most people are not intentionally negative. They are simply limited. They judge your dreams based on the size of their own imagination. They cannot see what you see because they have not walked your path or developed your vision. Their perspective is shaped by fear, by small thinking, by past failures, by a lack of discipline. When you open your mouth too early, you invite these limitations into your private mental world, and once they enter, they weaken your belief. Hill warned that belief is the soil in which success grows. If that soil becomes contaminated with doubt, your dream dies before it can take root. He also said that you become like the people you associate with. But association is not only physical, it is also mental. When you talk about your plans, you mentally associate your vision with the opinions and reactions of others. Their voices become part of your internal environment. Their skepticism becomes part of your thinking. Their fears become your hesitation. Silence is how you keep your mental environment pure. It is how you protect the energy that fuels your ambition. People will always try to match your dream to their belief system. Silence prevents that transfer of limitation. It keeps your dream untouched, unpolluted, and fully alive. Silence separates the visionary from the crowd. Silence preserves the greatness that is still forming. Silence is the protector of the dreams only you can see. Hill often spoke about the law of power. This law states that power grows through accumulation, not leakage. Every time you reveal your plans, you leak power. You hand out pieces of your vision to people who have no responsibility to protect it. They don't care about your dream the way you do. They don't feel the fire the way you do. They don't carry the pressure, the sacrifice, or the hunger that lives inside you. So why give them access to something they cannot comprehend? Hill compared unspoken ideas to stored electricity, silent, contained, potential energy waiting to be released at the right moment. When you share too soon, you release that energy prematurely and lose the force needed to execute. A quiet mind gathers power. It builds pressure. It creates momentum. This is why you'll notice that people who speak too much rarely produce anything. They live in conversation, not creation. They live in hopes, not habits. They live in ideas, not action. Hill wanted people to understand that the mind works best in silence. Silence is where creativity expands. Silence is where solutions form. Silence is where plans become concrete. Silence is where the intuition grows stronger. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop being distracted by the reactions of others. You return your energy to where it belongs, yourself. Hill believed that your greatest moves should feel natural and internal, not external or performative. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need applause. You do not need approval. You need silence and work. And when the time is right, your results will release the power you stored. Your silence will become your success. Napoleon Hill warned about psychic vampires, people who drain your emotional and mental energy without giving anything positive in return. He said that these people often appear during moments of excitement when you are ready to talk about a new project or opportunity. They seem harmless at first, asking simple questions. What are you planning? How will it work? Are you sure you can do it? But Hill explained that these questions are not always innocent. Sometimes they are rooted in jealousy, insecurity, or hidden competition. When you reveal your goals, you give such people something to attack, something to undermine, something to envy. And even if they say nothing, their silence sometimes speaks louder than words. You can feel their doubt, their discomfort, their hope that you won't succeed. Hill said that the subconscious mind picks up these emotional signals even when the other person doesn't speak them directly. Your mind absorbs their energy, their fear, their uncertainty. This is why talking drains you, but silence protects you. When you keep your mouth shut, you avoid emotional leaks. You avoid hidden jealousy. You avoid the subtle discouragement that comes from sharing with people who do not want you to climb. Silence exposes the true intentions of others. If someone truly supports you, they will support your results, not your announcements. Hill believed that success requires protecting yourself from the mental influence of others, especially those who drain your ambition. Keeping your plans private is not paranoia. It is wisdom. It is how you stay strong, focused, and immune to the subtle negativity of the world. Hill taught that the world is full of talkers and doers. Talkers announce, doers act. Talkers brag, doers build. Talkers need recognition. Doers need results. Hill believed that the talker wastes life decorating the dream while the doer spends life constructing it. And the first major difference between these two types of people is simple: how they use their words. Talkers speak about ideas that are not yet real, seeking validation, attention, or emotional release. But talk drains action. Every sentence becomes a substitute for effort. The talker becomes addicted to the fantasy of a goal instead of the discipline required to achieve it. Meanwhile, the doer speaks little but accomplishes much. Doers know that silence eliminates pressure. They don't have to prove anything. They don't have to defend their path. They don't have to rush results for the sake of appearances. Hill admired this type of person: the silent builder, the quiet worker, the one who stays focused while everyone else talks. Silence trains your mind to prioritize action over discussion. Talkers lose time explaining. Doers gain time executing. Talkers need others to believe in them. Doers only need to believe in themselves. Hill believed that every person must choose which type they will become. Will you be a talker who lives loudly but achieves little? Or will you be a doer who moves quietly but transforms their life? Silence is the first step toward becoming a doer. It unlocks discipline, focus, and internal strength. The less you talk, the more you think. The more you think, the better you plan. The better you plan, the more you achieve. Silence turns dreams into direction and direction into destiny. Hill's final and perhaps most powerful point about silence is this: your results will always speak louder than your words. A person who talks about their goals creates expectations. A person who works in silence creates impact. Hill stated that the world respects achievement, not announcements. No one remembers what you said you were going to do. They remember what you actually did. This is why he believed silence is the birthplace of greatness. Silence builds suspense. Silence builds curiosity. Silence builds authority. When people see your results without ever hearing your plans, they pay attention. They wonder how you did it. They wonder when you did it. They wonder why they never saw it coming. That mystery is power. Hill believed that success should feel like a quiet storm, building silently until it becomes impossible to ignore. When you do not reveal your plans, people only see the final masterpiece, not the messy middle. They see the victory, not the struggle. They see the result, not the sacrifices. This protects your confidence and shields your journey from unnecessary interference. Silence also protects your freedom. You can change your plans without explaining yourself. You can pivot without being judged. You can start over without embarrassment. You can fail privately and rise privately. Hill said that this freedom is one of the greatest advantages a person can give themselves. When you talk less, you live more. When you announce less, you learn more. When you keep your mouth shut, you create results so strong that no one can deny them. Let your silence build your strength. Let your discipline build your future. And let your success make the noise.